Welcome to the Mindful Mama Movement podcast. I'm Shannon Kinney-Dew, creator of AFreeSpiritLife.com.
And I'm Ashley Walburn, owner of Home Holistic. And together, we are bringing you the Mindful Mama Movement.
Mindful mothering is about nurturing your heart and soul while you nurture your children. It's about consciously awakening to your inner wisdom and being peacefully present as a mama, no matter where you are on your journey. From discovering your newborn to loving and accepting the wonderful people who've left your nest. Our movement is empowering mamas to be authentic and to live inspired lives. We are so happy you're here.
To be free, to feel free, to be free.
This is episode 15. Hey, Ashley.
Hey, Shannon. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We are back from our break.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be back podcasting with you.
I know. So we are starting 2017 as podcasters, and we took a 2-week break, which didn't really, as we were saying, feel like a break necessarily, but yeah. I'm sure it was nice to unplug a little bit. Did you get that opportunity to unplug a little?
I did. I had a very clear intention that I wanted to unplug and have more time off. And truly, unless I'm on vacation, I'm not that good with time off. And even on like Christmas Day, it was just the 6 of us. And by about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I mean, I felt like I was going to like break through a wall. And I'm like, not that way. I'm like redecorating our whole house in my mind. And so I think that it's just not it's not my natural way to be. Mm-hmm. But we did have some great just family time and time to do things that we used to do when the boys were smaller more often, like going on hikes and being together. And we actually like played charades, which like we haven't done in years. And that was fun and hilarious.
That's fun. And didn't you have like a movie marathon time too?
We had a movie marathon. I think I probably told maybe all of you that we watched 3 movies and then played charades and watched the Chiefs game on Christmas Day. And then I couldn't sleep all night because my hips hurt so bad.
Oh, I thought you were like overly stimulated by all the visual.
Just sitting.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, still, that had to be relaxing though. Fun.
No, it was good, and a lot of snuggling, and just needed FaceTime with all of us at the same time. Yeah, it was so good. How about you?
Well, for as far as unplugging, I took the Facebook app off of my phone for 2 days.
I saw that. Ooh.
Yeah. So Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and that was wonderful. It was really good because just, you pick up your phone and habitually you're just like, oh, I'll check this, and I just didn't want that distraction. So that was really nice. We stayed home. We went Christmas Eve at my mom's, and then Christmas Day we were home. And so because the boys are a little younger, I don't even think we watched a movie that day, but yes, they got Pictionary. That was the big game this year.
Oh, it's so fun.
Played.
Pictionary never gets old.
It doesn't. It really, and now it comes with a whiteboard. So they thought that was really cool. So it was nice. It was relaxing, and but it is funny because I have really wanted these longer stretches. Like even now that it's New Year's Eve, I wanted, a couple of days of just nothing planned, because I know that school and all that, like making lunches and all that stuff is coming again. Mm-hmm. And I always like have these great intentions, like, oh, we're just going to relax and we'll have a fire and it's going to be so wonderful. And then, like right after breakfast, it's like 3 boys under the age of 9. They're like wild dogs, and they're just like racing and running and arguing. And it's like not as peaceful as I have it in my head. So.
No, yeah. Like it's not like everybody's coloring. We used to say, having 4 boys is like a pack. And then Will and I would both say under our breath of wild dogs. Mm-hmm. And one time I was at Target, and all the boys are like running around, and they were little, like your boys. And I said, come on, boys, come on, boys, come on, boys, come on, children. And I said, come on, children. And I said under my breath of the corn. And a woman next to me heard me, and she about collapsed to the ground. So if you don't know Children of the Corn, you could check it out. It's a
Oh,
really scary movie.
oh, it's really scary.
It's so scary.
I actually lived in Iowa, a few hours away from the cornfields that they made that movie.
Yes.
And just like this is totally off topic, but my dad's old boss, he brought his daughter to be an extra in that movie. And my dad's boss ended up getting a part. And in the very beginning, they poisoned these customers in the restaurant. And that was one of my dad's old bosses. And so that just scared the crap
Random.
out of me.
I just learned something new about you. How funny that came
Yeah,
up.
so even when you say Children of the Corn, my stomach, everything, I was like, oh, I cannot watch that movie. It's so gross. But
Well,
that's
that's
really
how I
funny.
refer to my children.
And sometimes you have to do that just to stay sane,
No, it's
especially at Target. Oh my God. My
uh,
3-year-old likes to hide in the clothes, so I don't
yep.
even
No,
take
that's
him to
where they were. They
Target.
were hiding in the clothes
Yeah.
and like climbing up, and stuff's falling off the racks, and
Yeah.
people are looking at me like, "Oh my God, would you get out of here?" Oh, those were the days.
Yes. Well, I'm still living them. And yeah, I try to avoid Target with Grayson at all costs. But so tell me, it's New Year's Eve. I know this show is coming out after, but we're gonna just share what do you guys have planned today? Anything?
Well, we have very little planned, mostly because we've got big boys and they have social lives. But also, my Owen, who's my youngest, woke up at 5:30 this morning throwing up, and he threw up like running up the stairs, the carpeted stairs. So the whole like stairs and wall, and
Oh,
but he is a teenager, so we know that it's going to hang on. By the middle of the night, we'll all be sick. So that's what we're doing this year.
oh God. Yeah, you're gonna quarantine the house. That's a good way to bring in the new year.
Well, this is so awful. It's so gross. But when we're a little bit sick, I like it. It's kind of like a snow day. Like
Uh-huh.
everybody's just kind of stuck together, and we are watching movies, um, and the house gets cleaned really well. That I look back over the years when somebody's a little bit sick, that there's a lot of sweetness and snuggling. Nobody's in a bad mood when they're sick. They just want to snuggle with mommy.
Hmm.
Um, Owen and I already watched a documentary this morning, because he just wanted to like
Mm.
lay on my lap.
Yes, yes. It's just the stomach bug's the worst. You can't,
So,
there's no sweetness there.
yeah, but Ben is a freshman in high school, and then Cole is in eighth grade, and they both will be doing something, and so we'll be driving them, and that's just where we are. My mom says to me a lot, "You are going to miss this, Ashley. You are going to miss this time." And I just don't know that I believe it. But I look back on the time that a lot of you guys are at where your babies are small, and I would say the same thing. Like, oh my
Hmm.
God, I would do anything to just, have a baby nursing on New
Hmm.
Year's Eve. And so I hear it, but we'll be driving the other kids and nursing one kid. What are you guys
Oh my
doing?
gosh. Um, we are doing nothing. We're gonna have tostadas. It's like the one meal that everybody likes. So, where we basically make your own taco shells and toppings and stuff. So that's easy. And right now it seems warm out, but I'm still planning to have a fire because it's just
Us too. We are too. I know.
okay,
I told Will
good.
I have to have a fire tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a fire. We still have the tree up, so I just like being by the lights and then for us, we're still at little kid movie, although Keston, my oldest, wants to watch Star Wars. He's on I think it's Empire Strikes Back is the one he wants
Oh,
to watch with me. So we're gonna do that separately from the little boys, but with the kids, everybody we're watching Finding Dory.
oh
So
my God, it's so good. Have you seen Finding Dory
I
yet?
I actually have. We've seen it
Oh my
once,
gosh.
but
Oh my gosh,
I
that's so good.
know. It's so cute. I love any movie that doesn't have a bunch of bad guys in it. So
Me
that's
too.
my favorite.
Oh, that's good. I think it's really sweet. I love having a fire. We always do. We'll talk about it in a minute, but we always do a fire on New Year's Day. It's like my one guaranteed fire of the year.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
So I want to talk about your New Year's ritual, but before we do, so you're saying you're driving kids tonight. How is that? unsettling for you, or are you used to it? Like, I would think on New Year's Eve, do you feel nervous when your kids are out? You do.
Well, I do. I was wild as hells when I was growing up. I was really wild. And
Mm-hmm.
just and my husband, I would say maybe was a little bit less wild than me. He's just a calm person, but I I just feel like I know what I was doing, and so I'm aware that it's going to start happening with them. Um, and my Jake was really like a homebody in high school. He's 22 now, and um, he would have like two friends over, and they'd play video games, with like no limitations. You can play all night if you want to,
Mm-hmm.
or we would have neighbors over. And now Ben and Cole both will go and do something. And I just feel like New Year's Eve is a time that people experiment differently than they would on a normal night, on a normal kind of Saturday night,
Mm-hmm.
or at least that's what I did. And it is so unsettling for me. But honestly, like every time my kids aren't with me, it's kind of unsettling. I'm just like, where are they? Are they okay? Do they need me?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should just go. Maybe I should just go get them.
Yes. Yeah. So you're kind
we
of,
had we just had like a talk last night about when you're at parties, because really they don't like go to parties, like they just hang out with small groups of friends. um but we did this with Jake too, that we have a code word, and if you're scheduled to like check in, let's say at 10 p.m., and you check in before it, then that is also a heads up for my husband and myself. But you can't really say like, I need to call my mommy when you're hanging out with a bunch of high school kids. And um but you can say I have to check in at 9 o'clock, even though that's not the scheduled time, and to have a code word. So if you say, if you talk about dinner, is what we said, if you talk about what you've eaten,
mm-hmm.
then we know that you are ready to be picked up.
Mm-hmm.
um, and we'll make up an excuse of why we have to come and get you, what emergency.
That's good.
And yeah, and Jake did that too with us years ago. He was probably 16 and called and said, hey. And we were like, hey, what's going on? How's it going? He was like, fine. And he said, what time did I need to be home? And I said, I don't know, like midnight's probably fine. And he goes, oh, you're coming right now? And I said, do you want me to come right now? Yep. And I said, I'm on my way. Mama's coming.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's a really good tip. And I guess texting is probably helpful with that too now, right? That they
It's so
can,
helpful.
yeah.
It's so helpful. Yeah, yeah, come
Yeah.
now.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's one thing I always remember my mom saying whenever you were in a situation where, you just felt pressure or wanted to get out of it. She just said, just blame me. Blame me for everything,
Yeah.
and that really stuck with me. I think that's so good that kids know that it's like, oh, I want to do this, but my mom's like gonna kill me. My mom
Yeah.
says I can't or whatever. But yeah, exactly. If you're in a place where you can't say like, mom, come get me, a code
Yeah.
word is a great idea.
Yeah. Will and I always say, like, we'll never say no, and you'll never be in trouble for,
Yes.
you know, being asked to be picked up. Like,
Hmm.
we will leave whatever situation we're in.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So, tell us I love your family tradition on the first day of the year. What do you guys do?
Well, every year on January 1st, and I don't really know why this started, because we've been doing it for as long as I can remember. And we keep them. We do a vision board. Each one of us, we do a family vision board, and then we each do our own. And we sit around with a fire going and hot chocolate, um, and we have no music on, no phones are allowed at the table, and we just cut and paste. And everybody does it so differently. It's so fun to look that we've kept all of them in order. So we go back over, that this is what, we were doing in 2004, 5, 6. And it's such an interesting, and, you're way more of a creative than me. But what I see is that some of my kids like have to have it really organized. So like this is my like goals for school, and that's in one section. And this is my goals for our family, and this is my hopes, or whatever. And so it's like in categories or squares, and then Coles is all over the place. Ben does like three things. He does the least amount you need to do for mom to not ask you to do the vision board. But then we present it to each other. And every single year, all of us are emotional about it. Every single year. The sharing part every year. Every year. And sometimes it's not that big of a deal, but that we kind of together as a family manifested home holistic, and that everybody knew it was time for me to transition, and making a family commitment to owning a business together, and that we did it together, and everybody was sweet and sad and willing to make sacrifices. We kind of all realized, we can do this if we're doing it together.
That's so special. And I'm curious, since you save the vision boards, do you ever look back at the one from the past year, and do you see those things a lot of times coming to fruition for you, for everyone?
Yes. And sometimes, sometimes, everybody wants to go to Italy or something, like, okay.
Yeah.
So those don't always, just mom, so those don't generally come into fruition. But a lot of times, and I just believe this, that we set an intention, we take a breath, we set an intention, and then things open up for us. And I see it happening because they didn't even know that that's something maybe they needed to work on, or that they were struggling with, or wanted to challenge themselves on. But they also can look back at last year's. We always talk about last year's before we do ours, and look back at it. And, a lot of them will be like, whoa, I had lofty goals, for this year. And
yeah,
it's okay to kind of set your stage to look at your past and learn from your past as you look forward.
That's so good. Well, I'm going to do that. I have done my own personal vision boards and collage, and I always like to take time to journal and, write about the past year, but I haven't really done that with the kids. So I'm going to take your lead.
This is a good age for it. And then, of course, we always take a picture doing it. It's fun to see everybody sitting around the table, cutting and pasting.
But it also really gives you insight on what their interests are, I'm sure, and helps document. One thing that we do is we like to look through our pictures from the past year, and just kind of helps remember where, you forget what you've done since the past January. So
okay. I hear a little. I love it.
Yeah. He knows I'm recording too, so he's trying to be really sly about it, but he's giggling and holding it back. Yeah.
Story of my life. It's like nobody wants to talk to me until I'm doing something important.
Yeah.
And then I'm really popular with my kids.
I know. Well, we didn't explain that you and I we're not in person. We usually record together, and the kids, I'm actually at home, and they're supposed to be probably with Daddy, but I'm not sure what's happening right now.
He's lost one.
So anyways, they always find you, don't they?
They do.
But yeah, I'm going to do that. I think it will be really fun to see what they are thinking and help them learn the importance of reflecting, because I think it's really important that you know how to do that you don't just let, it's kind of a neat symbolic time of the year. And you don't have to do much. You don't have to make it, this big, it can be as simple as looking through magazines and just cutting out the images that you're drawn to. And that's it.
I think with Ashton and Grayson at their ages, that's really what they will do, that they'll find images and colors and that they'll just make a pretty collage and it'll be great.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Ash, I'm back. I had to get Grayson back with Daddy, and we were talking about vision boards. And I think, I was making a joke that I'm going to put on my vision board a babysitter during when we're doing our podcasts. And, but we started having a discussion about, the balance that we are experiencing. And, as I look back on this past year, 2016 for me was like stepping into a totally new stage of motherhood, because now that my youngest had just turned 3 this past year, I felt like I have always stayed home and I've always tried to keep things going for my creative work, but staying home has been the full-time thing I've been doing. And I think we all struggle with that. How do we do both and do it well and not feel like we have to do it all?
Yeah, I sometimes I think I sound real wise, but right now I'm not going to probably sound super smart. I Shannon and I both, have had a period where we were really just being moms, that we were volunteering and that I started staying home when I had my third. And then I didn't start working again at all for 3 years. And so Owen was 2, and I started teaching one prenatal yoga class a week. And that was in 2006. And then that grew pretty quick. And I started teaching natural childbirth and added a few more classes. But I was teaching evenings and weekends. And so it really, like we still had a good family balance. And as my doula business has grown and now Home Holistic, I still am really doing everything and feeling the pull. If a kid gets sick, I take it off work. I bring the kid with me. I go to the doctor's appointments. I do the grocery shopping. And it's really not working. A lot of it's just not getting done anymore. And so, my struggle, I look back on 2016 and probably 2015, that I'm just doing it. And not really, because there's so much to do, not really being momming like I want to. Because I used to have all day to, kind of go to the park, kids would take a nap, I could get some chores done. And now if we have downtime, it's just a lot of chores and cooking and chopping and running errands. So I really don't even know. I mean, I think that'll be what I work on my vision board work in the next couple of days is, I know it'll come to me like, what do I need to let go of so I can do better self-care and do better family care.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's whether you do it through a vision board or you do it through journaling or going on a walk or whatever. I think that this is just a really important time for us to take that moment, to take that pause, to see what isn't working, what isn't feeling right. And, there's a discussion going on in our Mindful Mama movement group on Facebook right now where we're talking about the division of labor. And somebody brought up about all these invisible chores and things that moms in particular really think about and worry about and organize. And is this a gender thing? Is this because we are nurturers and we take on too much? But there's just this conversation around that. And I think that what I hear in all of that is it's kind of this call to be honest with what isn't working. What isn't working in your life, whether it's a male female thing or a stay at home or work at home, whatever it is, really, the bottom line is if you're feeling imbalanced and you're feeling that exhaustion and depletion and frustration continuously, then something has to change.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is, kind of Darwinism. It's survival of the fittest and, our environment, but it really is like what will help our relationship really flourish and grow and evolve. And to me, if it is unbalanced, you're stuck. And then it doesn't feel good to one of you eventually. Um, and this year, and I've maybe shared this before, I'm also a marriage and family therapist, and I've always done therapy with moms primarily. And this year I've worked with more couples just because they've just come my way. Um, and almost everybody, I mean, honestly, everybody, not almost everybody, but I hear it in class. We're seeing it on our Facebook group. And I'm hearing it with couples that are struggling in their marriage. And it really is exactly that whether you're a 2-person working household or not, the division of child care and housework is not equivalent, and it's unbalanced, and then causes an injury to the relationship. And I wonder, I mean, I'm interested, and I would love everybody to let us know on our Facebook group, like, did you have good role models for that in your family of origin? I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. I did not. Daddy, if you're listening, I love you, but you never did one dish. Never. And he just let my mom do it. And I do think it's unkind, but I also don't think we had good role models for it. So I think it's a tricky transition.
Yeah, that's interesting. My memories, my dad was always doing some sort of housework, vacuuming, dishes. He really, but probably to a fault, because then he didn't like make time to play with us either. Like, it was just, he always was busy. He was always working and moving and doing. So, but yeah, I do think that that's why this conversation is so wonderful, and that we're, having the discussions, because I think that so often in you only have your own little bubble sometimes to look through in your own perspective. And then you feel like either what's wrong with me, or am I alone in this, or, why maybe I shouldn't be this frustrated or whatever. And so just having that conversation and seeing how many more people are feeling the exact same way, it's just good that we're bringing awareness to it.
Yeah, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, and it makes me think about, as you and I were reflecting on this last year, and you brought up the word setting boundaries, and I'm sure that will be more defined for you as you move through what comes in the next several months. But as far as you can speak on it now, what does that mean for you when you look at your life and think that you're being called to set some boundaries?
I feel like I'm being called, probably, honestly, for the last lifetime. As long as I've been working, but even like volunteering at my kids' school, that their elementary school is amazing and I love it. That I volunteered there almost like it was a full-time job. I had a friend one time, we were in like a PTA executive board meeting, and she held my hand so I didn't offer to like chair another committee. She held my hand under the table. And
that's a good friend, actually.
Well, and I was annoyed with her. I was like, Christine, let me go. But I always have just been, I don't think it's a good quality. But it's just me. Like, I'm just like, I'll do it. All right, I'll do it. And so I don't know. I do. I know that my body is suffering. My sleep is suffering. I feel a little bit like verklempt talking about it, that because I'm just kind of a natural sufferer. Some people might call that a martyr. Not me. I'm not calling it a martyr. But I am just like, oh, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll take that on for you, even something emotional. Like I try to take everybody's stuff and hold it for them. Um, but I am struggling. That since I've opened Home Holistic, that I've gained almost 40 pounds, which is crazy. And my movement, my exercise, and my nutrition really hasn't changed. It's probably gotten better, my nutrition, honestly. And so I know it's stress and so I know I've got to like get my stuff together and do good self-care. But it's a tricky practice for me.
Mm-hmm. Do you think because taking on that studio, obviously you took on so much more responsibility, were you also kind of keeping hold of the same responsibility that you had at home and with the school volunteering and all of that? Or, yeah.
Yes. First year, open at home holistic, I still chaired like my kids' schools was called like 150th celebration, that it was Prairie School's 150th anniversary. And it was huge. I mean, it was a 3-day event that we had like a big, like old fashioned carnival. I chaired the event, ran a business, have 4 kids, and also have a doula business. And um, so I think my body, is just like, seriously, enough. But I've been going that way for a long time. And so, like I was saying, like, downtime isn't easy for me. I just haven't done it. That even if we
Mm-hmm.
have downtime, I'm like, let's go. Like, let's make homemade pizzas. Like, if there's
Mm-hmm.
downtime, I'm still probably not enjoying it very much. So I feel committed to self-care and doing less this year. It's tricky. It's tricky
Mm-hmm.
because I also, like, my business is growing and our podcast is amazing and it's growing. And um, so I think I have to figure out, and all of us do, like what matters, what do we need to, where am I best served, and what can I let go of? And so I just have to figure that out.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I think it really is a daily practice. There's people who say, well, having balance is totally, um, it's, an invisible concept. And
Mhm.
what I think about it is I feel like it's simply, I mean, that's what mindfulness is really, right? Is when you're just paying attention to what you're being presented with in this moment. And
Mhm.
so what you feel brings balance to your life today is not necessarily what's going to feel balanced tomorrow. And so it's being able to have that awareness and that self-assessment and to say, okay, what is working right now for me? What isn't working? I like your question, like, where am I best, available just to be of
Mhm.
service? But also, it's like the more we say yes to things out there, the really we have to say no to something else. And what we're saying no to is ourselves ultimately,
Yep.
or our own energy, or our health, or
Mhm.
our wellness. And so it's like, how can we discern between what we need to say yes to and what we need to say no to? But to also understand that when we say no, we're not saying never, or we're not, we're even trusting that then there's someone else will be available to take that on, and that
Yeah.
we're putting ourselves and our own health and wellness, in a place that will help us be of better service in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you're so smart. It
Well,
is true.
yeah, I mean, it's just it's a hard concept to learn, and it's one that you learn from default, you learn from experience. And, your body is the first clue. And when our bodies are signaling to us, I know that when I get headaches, it's usually because I either feel the weight, I'm carrying something on my shoulders, so that it's a tension headache of some sort,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm worrying or overthinking. So that headache is symbolic of what's going on in my restless mind, right? And
Right.
so our body, and you know this when you're carrying on, you're taking on some weight, well, you're carrying the emotions and the everything from everyone around you. And so it's awesome that you're using the word boundary, because it's ultimately you're just saying, hey, I just need to look within and protect myself a little bit right now. But it doesn't mean you're shutting yourself off from helping all these amazing women you help every day. You don't have to do it all anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that I don't. And I have such amazing people around me. Thank goodness. Everybody's so great and amazing. But there is just like, if I'm not doing it all at home or here, um, then what am I letting go of also?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is that scary? Why is that scary? Does it mean that I'm being a bad mom if I get help cleaning my house? You know what I mean? Like, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the resistance for me, like I try to psychologize everything. Um, but, like, what is our resistance? Like, what is holding me back from taking better care of myself and getting help? Like, it's interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me this past year, I've noticed I've had to be more vulnerable. I've had to put myself out there. I've
Mhm.
chosen to do more live videos. I've started a online circle. I've gotten back in the studio. I've helped lead the retreats. I've
Mhm.
really after this stage of motherhood, that of me being home and online, I really wanted to step more fully into connecting with other people, but also being more vulnerable. And but what I also discovered is I am still habitually a planner, very, goal oriented. And I have, if I'm going to write one book, I might as well write two at the same time, that kind of like
Yep.
crazy. And so the last 3 months in particular have really, since I went on a yoga retreat, and then it just kept spiraling into meeting, amazing women that we've even interviewed here, and going to Zen retreat. And just, it's been really coming to me in so many ways that I need to sit, and I need to sit in that stuff that I want to, like, hide from. And I need to be more open to letting things come to me, instead of trying to strategize and plan it out. And this power versus force is really what I'm aligning with
Yeah.
right now, which is
Yes.
to open up and let whatever you call it, whether it's divine or the universe or love or God, whatever it
Mhm.
is, it's like trusting in that I can't force the timing. That is here to help me, and I can let it lead the way, instead of me trying to force and push and strive and do way too much. And so for my reflection on this past year, and then moving into next year, it's like I'm going to just let myself be okay with doing less. I'm going to practice easing into the things and letting things come, so that when they do come, it's like I know, oh, that's where I need to go, instead of having to always, like, carve that new path. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I think it's amazing. I I feel like, my whole business, mom, birthing, prenatal, um, was never forced. It did just happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and somebody said to me along the way, and it could have been a book, but that's how you know that you're really on the right track, that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, that it's unfolding for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and now my husband and I, just last night, like until really late, we are, kind of ending our year and figuring out what classes work and what workshops have been successful.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the ones that have been pretty effortless make the most money, the most people are drawn to, we get the most referrals from, and the ones that like I'm kind of trying to make happen aren't, that I'm putting more energy into and like I don't want to give this up. Um, I don't think that means I need to give it up, but I also need to just allow a little bit to unfold itself and not put so much force behind it.
Yes.
That in our, relationships, friendships, marriages, that I feel the exact same way about it. That when we're trying to make it happen, it's maybe something that needs to be not, happening
Mm-hmm.
if it's taking so much work. My
Yes.
grandmother asked me, my grandma and grandfather, she's 98. She asked me, why Will, like when we were engaged? Um, and I said, well, because he's like easy, like it's easy. Every day is funny. It's still not easy, constantly every single day, but still like, I still really like him. I still really want to be with him. And I feel the same about my career,
Mm-hmm.
or volunteering, honestly, it's why we're doing the podcast because we felt called to do it and it has unfolded
Yes.
without any
Yes.
force at all. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it makes me think about our workshop that we're going to offer at Home Holistic January 14th, I think, right?
Mhm. Yes.
So, for those of you who are local, Ashley and I are going to just host a vision board workshop. So you can come and join us. We'll have lots of magazines and we're going to make our own what feels right to us vision board for 2017. And it's interesting, Ashley, because I've really been thinking about what kind of vision board feels right to me because I don't really feel called right now, which is so different than me in the past. Like me in the past always had like, a list of goals for this year, like written out in the journal and I don't feel that. I feel very much that I want my vision board to be more about a feeling. It's like the vibe that I want to focus on for this new year, but not necessarily like these particular concrete goals that I have to do by a certain date. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
feel right to me. So, whatever kind of vision board comes out for each person, I think it will be really wonderful to share that in a circle time at the studio. And you can check out mindfulmamamovement.com for more info to sign up for that. And if you are not local in Kansas City, you can check out, if you go to afreespiritlife.com, I offer a monthly circle that's a virtual circle. And we're going to do kind of the same thing. We're going to be focusing on setting our intentions for 2017 and creating a positive mindset. So we'll kind of be exploring that together online. But yeah, I'm really excited. I've never done a vision board really with people and I want
Oh,
to
it's so
see what
fun.
everyone
It's so
makes.
fun, and everybody will, share. And I would say if you have magazines, or just anything that you're willing to share and cut up that are coming, I think it's great to bring stuff. Shannon and I will bring a lot um, that we've been gathering and hoarding. Um,
Yeah, and once you register, we'll send you info on what you can bring as well. So I like to actually do vision boards in my journal, but do you do them like on poster board? What do you like to use?
we use at home, we do for our family one, we do a bigger poster board, but then for each one of us, we just use a piece of like printer paper.
Yeah.
Um, because honestly, it still takes us a couple of hours to fill
Mm-hmm.
up because
Mm-hmm.
some words are tiny, some pictures are tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we don't feel like none of us feel like we have to fill it. Um, but we will for our workshop at Home Holistic, we will do a short meditation that just kind of helps everybody get clear. Like we're
Yes.
setting an intention before we work on it. Um, that'll help us kind of get some stuff out of the way. So our vision board really is what we truly want and not what we think we want.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, that's a really big, important point to make that our mind can think all day about the goals and the the things we want, but really it's taking
Mhm.
that time to go a little deeper, to step outside of our mind, really feel, so you're not creating your next year about what you think they are expecting you to do, or like
Mhm.
values you downloaded from your childhood, or what you think is
Mhm.
expected from your spouse. It's no, it's getting more in connected and in touch with what do you need authentically, you deep down inside. Where is your heart? Where is your divine? Where is your universal love, whatever you call it? Where is that leading you in this new year?
Yeah, yeah. What will help you feel limitless in your relationships and your um, career and your life? And we'll for sure help you on it, and we'll be doing it with you also.
Yeah. So, Ash, this has been fun. We haven't gotten to do this where we just really chat and connect in this way. And before we go, why don't you leave us with a mindful mama moment?
Well, I really just think a mindful mama moment for me, um, moving into the next year, is what would we like to let go of? What would that mean for us if we let go of something that we've been holding on to maybe a little bit too long? What will that give us space or energy for in the next year? And so maybe an intention or a ritual or a word, um, or just that. What would I like to let go of? And what would that give me space for? And we would love to share that in our group at the Mindful Mama Movement on Facebook. And we'll look forward to seeing you all soon.
It sounds great. So, yeah, we'll see you there. And we have so many amazing interviews coming up that Ashley and I have been working on behind the scenes. We can't wait to share with you. Happy New Year, Ashley. Have so much fun. And we'll see you all
Happy
next
New
time.
Year. See you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Bye.
Bye.